All right, hello. Welcome back to my painting studio, and welcome if you're new. This is your first time here. Appreciate you hanging out with me. I am returning to a painting I started several months ago, but had to put aside to finish another painting that had a deadline. This one I've been calling Stepping into the Flow. It was inspired by my realization as I was coming out of a deep, multi-month long autistic burnout period, that the flow, what I call the flow, um, which is basically kind of, I think, for me, speaking for me as a neurodivergent person with autism and ADHD, is kind of an equilibrium. It's when I have equilibrium in my life, that I feel like I'm kind of in sync and flowing with everything. And definitely painting, oil painting at my easel, pretty much immediately puts me into that flow. So that was the background on this painting. It has kind of a winding rivery type of thing going here, though the yellow also kind of looks like river. So um, I am an abstract painter mostly. I do also do some realistic paintings, but abstraction is really what I love. And after finishing up the other painting, which took quite a bit of work and focus and energy, I'm really looking forward to relaxing and working on this. So, with that lengthy introduction, what I've decided to do, this is very dry, I haven't worked on it in months. I'm going to add a glaze over the whole thing. There's probably, I think, about 4 or 5 layers of paint on here. It's just now kind of getting sealed well and saturated with paint. But I feel like it needs an overall wash with a couple of the colors I've been using to kind of knock it back and seal it all in together. Um, so I'm playing with this idea of a river flowing with some perspective, but also a flat surface that I am doing a design on, I guess, is what we'll call it. So, anyways, um, I want a nice glaze. Putting some solvent on my brush just to help the paint move. I am using my usual Neo Meglip by Gamblin. It's an oil painting medium. It's kind of nice and thick and chunky, and it also helps speed up the drying time. So thank you, Gamblin. The color I really like is down here. This is basically several colors of blue with some Viridian. I've been using Windsor blue, manganese blue, and Viridian, mostly with some yellow and white. So what I want to do with this glaze, I have some glaze on the palette, and I'm going to start with the Windsor blue and kind of make a glaze out of that. But I want it to be more on the green side. I don't want it to be bright blue. So I'm going to add a little bit of Viridian. Now, there are some areas I really like. So you got to be a little brave to do this, but this is a typical work pattern for me. Because I'm going to put the glaze on, and then I'm going to use a dry rag, to remove some of it. Okay, so I have gotten the glaze. It was Viridian and Windsor Blue, and I kind of mixed them together on the palette and put it on, added some more of each color where I felt I wanted it to be more green or more blue. I was selective in a few of the white areas to leave them bright. So now I'm going to use a clean dry rag to remove the paint and using a rolling and blotting technique. I have found the best things for this is a paper-based rag that I got at, I believe, Ace Hardware. Um, they're made with paper pulp, basically, but the big difference between this and like a t-shirt type of fabric is this has no lint. A lot of my paintings have end up with lovely texture in them because I used t-shirt type of materials that had a lot of lint. So I'm just going to kind of roll this up to give it lots of creases. I should put gloves on. This is going to get messy, but I'm not going to. So I'm just going to be wiping this on and off, moving it around, and then I'll come in with some blending brushes and probably some brushes with solvent to pick out some of the bright colors again. So relax and enjoy. So I'm taking this dagger brush and I've dipped it in solvent, and I'm just going to develop some of these patterns that I painted over in the wet glaze. So what I'm doing here is using this blending mop, and I am softly blending the glaze that's been put on and all the lines I've created with the dagger brush with some solvent, which has created a lot of little new textures in here. And I'm blending some of it to look like it's in the background, that it's a little softer and fuzzier, and mixing in where other things will be a bit sharper and in the foreground. So that's the strategy I'm using right now. Okay, I do believe I am at a good stopping point for a break and a chance to give it a good stare and see how it looks. But yeah, there's some cool new lines and textures, and it's pretty. So I think the next thing is probably to come in with some of these paint colors and boost up, kind of brighten up and tighten up, sharpen up some of the places that I want more defined. So that will be the next step. Thank you as always for watching and hanging out. Really appreciate it. Comments would be awesome. Let me know what you think. Any suggestions you have for painting or videos or anything else, I would appreciate. So, and again, thank you so much. See you in the next video.